I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, and I'm located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Monroe, Washington. And welcome to Wheel Talk. Hey guys, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Me and Ryan went to ClayCon West, and we actually did a episode last week about the recap of it, but we sat down with Ryan Reich and Andrew Linderman and a few other people, Victoria and Denise, and we had kind of a roundtable discussion while we were all throwing. And so this is the recap of that. It's pretty long, so so if you want to skip through or listen to the whole thing, you can, but it's there's some gold tidbits in there, so okay, enjoy it.
I thought I'm looking like Becca over here.
Yeah.
I was like, are you trying to make
Ryan totally stole my style this summer.
The swirls?
Yes!
I don't know how to tell you this.
No, I'm kidding.
That's been around for years.
You
stole swirls.
You know what?
She patented swirls, okay? Is this recording right now?
Yeah. I'm kidding. I know I didn't do swirls, but it was so funny.
That should be the opening of your episode. Just be like,
Ryan,
Becca patented swirls. You can't steal it, Ryan.
You know what? I probably could patent swirls.
You didn't invent fucking
And then I could be one of those idiot like.
And then you'll have to have a parental advisory
or something.
on your episode because Mr. says fuck all the time over here.
We already. Well,
Mr.
we
Reich.
actually don't do that. Mr. Reich.
Mr. Reich says F in class. Kids know it. And I'm like, I say fucking for the administrators too. And they're like, yep. You're pretty much stuck with me. So not only the guy with the kids, so I'm saying, it's really hard to get fired.
It is really hard.
As a tenure teacher, like, I care a lot for my kids tell me they're like, you're like the biggest advocate for students. Because I'm like, yeah, like some of your classes are dumb. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, like that's dumb. Like
what?
Some of those classes are dumb. Well, I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist, so I'm like, U.S. history, it's like Star Wars. It's like half of it's made up. Half of it's like you need to learn that version of the truth for take the test, but we don't know. But I'm not gonna go political.
Look at that. I put the computer in front of me so I wouldn't splurt water on it, and I just did.
You wanna tilt it at an angle?
Or do you want like a box to prop it up higher?
And all the like tests they have to take and learning to do the tests.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Our semester is really dumb. Our
I'm
school
probably
year
gonna
is
clean up my
really,
tools. So look what I got going on here. I got my little stripey.
Our school year is really stupid. We start in like September.
Yeah.
They go all the way to winter break. They have 2 weeks off, and they come back, and they have 2 weeks of school, and they have a week of finals, and everything that happens in that 2 weeks, they forget.
Yep.
So like chemistry.
Oh yeah.
They were like,
Oh yeah.
Math.
Yeah.
And we start later and like
a little bit, maybe.
it's dumb. Like they should have a break. Like they need a break.
They need a break.
Don't.
Should I just make a big Orby thing?
Yeah.
This is just gonna be a big Orby thing.
All right, so for those listening that did not know what's going on, we are in St. George, Utah.
We are?
the Tilted Kiln
No.
in St. George, Utah at ClayCon West. And we're not throwing in our studio solo.
And who's here? Ryan
Roll call.
Reich, Andrew Linderman, Becca Otis.
They're not gonna know which one of us talks like what now because you said our names.
Okay, say it, Andrew.
It's like this. Hi, my name's Ryan Reich. I'm a high school ceramic teacher and ceramic artist from Yorba Linda, California.
Look at that, profesh.
Nice.
Andrew, your turn.
I'm Andrew Linderman. I am a full-time potter
Pata.
from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go Packers.
Fuck the Packers.
Hi.
Packers, go Bears. FTP, we'll say that. Edit. You have to
Hi,
edit
I'm
this
Becca
one.
Otis. No, we don't edit.
From Five Lines Pottery.
From Five Lines Pottery. And I am a sellout.
You got your patent.
Finally,
swirls,
you made
Becca.
it.
Finally!
You know when you made it, you sell out.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from Southgate, Kentucky. And I'm the only one not presenting this weekend, so I'm just kind of along for the ride.
He's also a copycat.
I am.
Yeah, he stole Becca's swirls.
All of them.
So we're basically just working on stuff the night before the conference. Heavy stuff starts tomorrow.
Yeah. And Ryan's cutting out Nikes.
I'm swooshing.
Swooshin'.
I'm the first presenter on Saturday morning, so.
Ooh.
Yeah, tomorrow morning at 8, right?
I'm glad
8:30.
I'm not first on Saturday
Are
morning.
you a morning guy?
I'm up. I have small children and
Yeah, he's a morning guy.
a high school
by
teacher,
force
so
of
by
habit,
default,
he has to be.
Yeah.
my internal clock is like, it's 6:30. Why are you still asleep? And then I'll wake up, and then like today I was like, oh, I can go back to sleep.
I'm kind of glad it took me like 3 days to get over a time zone because I don't feel all
You don't
weird.
have the big adjustment immediately.
Yeah, so listeners, I drove here from Milwaukee. That's a long drive.
Over how many days?
I left Tuesday morning, drove to Wichita, Kansas, and I did a workshop for Isaac Shu's high school class and an artist talk afterwards. And then Isaac cooked me some ribeyes.
Nice.
And then I took off Thursday morning and drove to Flagstaff, Arizona, and stayed with a buddy, Johnny Arvizu,
Oh, nice.
at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. And then this morning I drove up to St. George, Utah, which was like the most beautiful drive. There's fire in the
There's
studio.
fire in the town!
Yeah, why don't you want to introduce the other people in the room?
Oh, yeah, and in the background, come over here.
Introduce yourself.
Say hi. Who are you? Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Denise Muckleroy Young. I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, and I am raccooning.
So
in
she's
the
setting
microwave.
fires in the studio.
So yeah, so the
Indoor
the
raccoon.
fire was me. It was all my fault, but it's all put out. It's good.
It's a controlled fire.
Controlled fire.
Controlled burn.
It's in like a coffee pot. It's in, or
Yeah.
what is that?
So
It's
that's
like
a-
a little pot.
Yeah, it's a pot that you cook like rice.
A dollar store pot.
Yeah.
Oh, where's my little one?
All right, Victoria, your turn.
I'm Victoria Pamlenyi, and I am a prop maker and a ceramic artist. I moved to the US in 2017, so I've been, before that I was making stuff in Sweden, where I lived previously.
Where do you live now?
I live in Southern California, also in Orange County, about 20 minutes from Ryan.
Yeah.
Yep. We drove up yesterday.
Thursday.
And
Thursday.
yes, Thursday
Yes.
in the dark, so we didn't see the beautiful drive-in.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
saw dark.
And Andrew, how many miles did you say you just put on your car? From
2,000.
And 2.
And I think it's up to like 2010 now. But I had to run to
2,000 miles.
Michael's to get corks.
Yeah.
Because flasks don't hold liquid well without corks. I think
No.
I'm going to ruin this, right? Yeah, it got too thin.
Oh.
It's kind
So
of
it has a new clay, I guess, right?
Yeah, this is why I'm doing this tonight. I'd love it if I just
So you don't
did
look
this
like a
during
noob
my
tomorrow.
demo on Sunday.
I really like that.
It's actually, it's a little George Orry right now.
I like it a lot.
I can
Oh, almost. Oh, I almost got it.
I'll get this straightened out right in the center.
Now it doesn't look cool.
I think it doesn't look cool because it needs like some accent handles.
Yeah. Yes.
So Ryan gets to start the demos and stuff tomorrow, and then Becca and Andrew like finish out the end of the conference.
Yeah. So, what's better, to be the end or the beginning?
You know, when I was in art, when I was a student, I always critiques. I always like to go first because there was like less expectations,
Yeah.
and like I could set the expectation. Or I didn't have to like be stuck in my own head and worrying about what other people were gonna do and have to compare myself. Or I would like to go last, so I could try to like.
Be better than everybody
Ta-da!
else.
And
Yeah.
everyone's like, F you. I never wanted to go in the middle. I wanted to end or, like, it's like pro wrestling. You either want to go first, or you want to go last.
Yeah.
But
I
you
was
can
like-
get lost. I always thought you get lost in the middle.
I like going second.
Because then you have a little bit of, like,
I know what's going on,
Yeah,
but
with
something to
but
base it off
People are
of.
settled in a little bit. And
Yep.
Their comments are better.
Well, or
Or-
it's just like the
or, like,
person,
it's
like
more
everybody's like,
constructive.
oh, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have a better, like, I understand what's happening in the situation better.
Did you attend critique? Did you get a BFA and stuff and do critique?
Oh, I have a Bachelor of Arts in chemistry.
Bachelor of Arts in chemistry. How does
Yeah.
that work?
Because I went to a liberal arts college, so I had to take a
Oh.
bunch of different general eds and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So
I like your handles.
I'm gonna like put this on Joe's desk.
You should. This is one of your workshop artists. Hear us roar.
So yeah, I'm okay going first. First I was like, and then I'm like, oh,
Because
you know
didn't
what?
get to set preferences, right? Of,
Huh?
like, you
No,
didn't
I
set any
had
preferences of-
we had no input on when we.
I'm sure if we would have said something, he would have done something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely didn't say anything. But at the same time, I had the initial like, oh no, I'm like, oh wait, I'm first, and then it was like, oh wait, I'm first. I used to like that.
Yeah.
So. And then it's good because I can do my thing, and then the rest of the conference, I can basically just like
Chill out. And
chill out, and like I figured, like I told Victoria, I can like assist her if she needs help.
Yeah.
Like if you need
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
Kevin's probably
He's
got it.
fine.
So
That's it,
I
yeah.
won't.
I want to try to do one of your twisty things.
The facets with the.
I'm copying.
You can't steal somebody's idea.
What do I make that's a twisty thing?
The
Your facets, and
Facets,
then you
that's what it's
bulge
called,
it
the facets.
out so that it corkscrews.
it twists. It's not a swirl, but it
It
twists.
can
It doesn't
twist.
twist
It
much.
can twist if you want it to twist.
And well, they usually twist a little bit. I actually try to have them not twist very much.
When I was an undergrad, I used to do the faceting, but I used to do like a ziggy-zag faceting.
Oh yeah.
So it was like, yeah, and then one of the best compliments, I think I told your wife yesterday, one of the best compliments I ever got was I made like a skinny neck vase that had that like texture on it,
Uh-huh.
and I gave it to somebody, and they were flying, and they got like pulled over by TSA because they thought it was a weapon. It had like a handle,
Uh-huh.
it had a little bit of weight to it because I had to throw them kind of thick to do the faceting,
Uh-huh.
especially to do that like deep ziggy-zag kind of.
Right.
And it had like a really strong, like perfectly hand-sized handle, and it had like a kind of a round, like mace kind of looking
So it looked
thing.
like a
and it was
club
like
or
spiky.
something, or
It was like a ball with like a handle. But the ball was like kind of spiky,
yeah.
and it was this like middle-aged like mom of like 5 like grown children, and she was like, I just visited my children, and one of their like friends gave me this thing. So that
So
was
you
one
packed
of the
your
best
bags,
compliments
man.
I ever got. Like, wow, they thought it was a weapon. I felt bad that she got like sidelined for
Yeah.
half hour with TSA agents questioning her, that she was gonna.
Come on, you don't
But
see
this was
as
like
art?
this was like close to 9/11. It was like 2001, 2002, 2003. So 'cause I remember it was when I was an undergrad, so it was like 2003,
Too slippery.
I think.
You got the other one out.
Do they have nothing under them?
No.
No wing nuts.
Just stuck there after they're wiggling?
Well, I don't care about them wiggling. This is what I do at home. But mine are long enough where I can push into the bottom. These are short little shrimpy. Oh, that one was longer. I don't know.
So Andrew, what are you talking about in your workshop?
Volume and texture. So I'll be doing some faceting, but also some other textures and just kind of exploring. I've had a lot of fun exploring how the texture changes when I'm throwing the pot from the inside out and adding volume to it.
Yeah, because you're doing a little more stamping, and besides just the facets, you're kind of
Yeah.
like known for facets and
Yeah,
the
which
corkscrew
is
look with the
certainly
facets.
part of it. But
It's fascinating.
It's fascinating. Yes, indeed.
Dad jokes. Dad jokes for days.
I've never heard that joke before.
I'm
ever,
sure you hear
Ryan.
all the time. Oh, and do you like the movie Ghost? Because I never heard that one before. I want my dad to play in my classroom all day. That song.
That song.
Unchained Melody.
Forever.
And what are you talking about, Becca?
Well, I don't know.
You're still figuring it out. You're still ironing out.
What?
Efficiency, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like really ADD and I just messed this up.
Oops, I stole it too.
I am talking about, efficiency while throwing. And right now I'm not presenting that well. In this moment, at least. But yeah, we're just going to talk about how you can take smaller steps to make your pieces a little bit more efficient when you're throwing on the wheel, so that you can spend more time on everything else instead of your just throwing, like, you know, cause
Or you can make 100 mugs in a morning instead of 5.
yeah, and then you could spend the rest
like
of your
I make 4. I make 3 in time to make like 100.
No, I mean you made 6. How many mugs did you throw today?
6.
You made 6 in the time that I threw 25 pounds.
Yeah.
So.
And then I made a bunch of other parts.
But yeah, and then.
But you're also like your batch of sneaker mugs. Are you making like 20 at a time, or are you making like 6 at a time?
6 at a time is comfortable.
Yeah.
6 mugs takes me like 4 nights. 4 nights of like 2 to 4 hours of working.
Okay.
So, and then to glaze them's another night.
Yeah.
So I usually like make a bunch, and then like this last batch I had like 30 or so bisque pieces, and I just like been glazing all those.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, watching your process today, I feel like it's really, I mean, it's good. It's like you have a lot of things that you.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you have a lot of things that you.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you've made shortcuts for.
No, yeah, I've gotten more efficient as I've gone through the steps over and over and over and over again. And it's like, oh, I don't do that, I do that. Like.
Yeah.
And what do you like the most of that? Because there's like 8 steps in every mug you got to do.
This is what I do.
I don't know what's my. I don't know my favorite. I mean, the whole making of just like making the parts and putting it together as a whole, I like way more than
the construction.
The construction, yeah, because the throwing is really only a small part of it at this point.
That's just kind of like your template.
That's just like the foundation.
Right.
It's like the walls, and I could totally build it out of slabs. I thought about it, but there's a part of me that's like the potter in me that like has to be rooted in the wheel. It has to be rooted in the wheel, but then beyond just something on the wheel. And I could throw it without a bottom, so I can use my press mold and.
Yeah.
I feel like
with all these parts and
when I make these like oval vases, and or like my flasks, for example, and like I'm throwing the body of the flasks, but it gets done and it's like kidney shaped. Like I could slab build it probably, but it wouldn't, like I can throw it faster than I could make a slab, even though the
designs,
the top and the bottom
unique to the
are
wheel.
Slabs too.
Yeah, so I used to make those oval vases like all the time, or like I used to make oval like bowls. So the process I'm doing is totally stuff I've done before. I just did it in a different context. So like throwing it without a bottom and adding a slab and putting it together and adding handles, that's stuff I've been doing. It's the next step in my evolution, my process. And now I do like all this like kind of high tech with like laser printed stuff, or laser cut and 3D printed stuff, and like handmade tools made out of like chopsticks and toothpicks. And
you're using those for adding some of the textures and the impressions on your pieces, or you're just making those tools for?
No, yeah, like the stitches I do. I have all these little different little stitching tools I made. Like this is like a double stitch for parts, and then I made this one is like a single stitch. And I have another one that's like the
are you doing that because you haven't found something that can simulate that, like a pie crust?
No, I've tried the roller, and I don't like the roller.
It's not as refined and like.
Well, I don't
tight.
have as much control. It's easy for it to kind of get away. So
yeah,
it's a little longer for me to like stamp it by hand, but it makes it.
It's a little bit more like.
It's more like
raw craftsmanship.
It's more.
It's better.
Yeah, it's more detail-y. So yeah, I think part of like my process is really like giving myself a problem and then creating like I make a problem and I make the solution by making like tools out of like super basic like most of my you can see most of my tools are like I don't know.
They're just handmade, yeah.
They're like super ghetto. Like I started making tools as a high school teacher because my students would just like they don't appreciate a $5 like Kemper Pro needle tool where I can make them for like 15-20 cents each and they're just as efficient and way cheaper. And I like my ghetto-ness because that's like a pretty sweet needle tool. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like
yeah, that's nice.
It's a poultry stitching tool. So when you get like your turkey, you can like stitch it back up or something.
Right.
So it's poultry needles and you just cut the little eye off, epoxy it into the bamboo, and
nice.
I got my my like comb tine glued into the thing. It makes a nice cleanup tool and my
That's how you get that texture. Oh.
The most tedious way possible, individually stamping it.
No, there's a more tedious way.
I thought you were doing each individual one of those.
There's 4 of them, but
I know that. I thought it was tighter than that. But yeah, it's pretty tedious.
Stamps are pretty awesome.
Nice. Did you start doing the stamping because you were looking for just something to mix it up? Or you just wanted to...
Oh, that's cool.
welcome back, Becca.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I was thinking about one of my mentors, Steve Rolfe. He doesn't do a whole lot on social media, but he's a super fantastic potter.
I love those people.
He makes super amazing pots. He's from River Falls, Wisconsin. Anyways, so we were talking, and I was having like a hard time. He was helping me edit an artist statement, and I was having a hard time coming up with like some of the descriptive words I was using. And so he was like, you should come up with like a few words, just singular words, like 4 of them or 5 words that you want to describe your work. I'm paraphrasing here. And so I was kind of thinking about that, and then once I think about like the bigger picture of like what I'm trying to say with my work, then I was like, the facets are only like one means to the end. So then I was kind of like, well, I'm going to try some other stuff, because that's like ultimately the facets aren't what my work's about. It's about
because you become known as the facet guy, or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's like the most recognizable thing that I'm doing. But if I started doing a bunch of this, then that might change.
Expanding your.
So what did you come up with? Did I miss that part?
I started using some of these texture stamps, and so just some other ways of adding texture to the pieces that aren't facets.
So what were your 4 words? Do you remember those 4 words?
The words that I came up at the time, I don't think I remember, but some of the words that I like using to describe is I would want, if somebody were to pick up my pots, I'd want them to think that it was considered. And a lot of my memories as a kid, I was spent a lot of time outside as a kid, and so with like friends and family camping, and so there's like a certain amount of like, you just did a whole bunch of work or things during the day, and then you go back and you're working together to like make a meal, and then you're cooking it over this fire, and it's like this very wholesome, and everybody's putting their effort and like love into it to nourish you, and so it's like that same sort of like,
so it's like a shared ownership and a shared like.
Yeah, but like
goal.
If somebody's picking up, they're like, oh, this person put care and effort into making this, and so when they're using it, they feel like they're being taken care of.
Oh.
So like that's one of the things that I think about. The texture I'm using now, which is kind of like parquet, I guess would probably be the closest. But it reminds me a lot of like quilts, and my stepmother and a lot of my wife's family and my stepsister are all quilters, and so we have a lot of homemade quilts at home.
wanted to like learn to quilt.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I
That
could
would be
never
something I
do
would
it.
My
love.
mom
It's like
quilts.
I'm like I could make one square, but I'm so impressed when it's like you just made 30 squares, and then you have to put them all together because they can't be like off by more than like a
Yeah.
I feel like I would love
16th
that.
of an inch
You would love
after
that.
you strung together like a king size bed worth of them, and it just
Right.
blows my mind. Blows my mind.
It's gotta be so detailed and so
I'm not
precise.
like anal enough.
Yeah.
I surprisingly like am. I could do that.
Because
But
it's so like
It's so
methodical
precise.
and,
Yeah. I have a very split personality. Also, have you considered your name being multifaceted?
What? Andrew Linderman? How is my name?
Andrew
multifaceted?
Linderman, multifaceted. Because you didn't want it to be just facets.
I thought Ryan was supposed to have the dad jokes.
That ain't a dad joke.
That was a
That's a bad joke.
That was a bad joke. I mean, that was very funny. Good
Yeah,
job.
so right now I'm putting
We all laughed.
a bunch of these stamps on what, like a 10-inch tall cylinder, which is
And
just
each
it's
stamp,
very
each stamp is about an
time-consuming.
inch and a half by an inch and a half.
Yeah. I'm on like row 5, and I'm like just over halfway.
So you're doing some more stamping. Do you
Yeah.
have some like some rolling like cylindrical stuff that you're kind of rolling in different that aren't so tight as well, that you're letting the volume kind of
Well,
determine where that line's going to go, that's not
so when I go to push it from the inside out, the widest part of it's going to kind of get stretched to the point where you can't really see the texture at all, and then the parts that are nice and close together, it's going to be really clear and deep.
yeah.
So,
And you're still going to do the wood fire stuff. The wood fire is going to be constant throughout.
yeah. So I'm. Last year I kind of overcommitted myself to a number of different things during the year, and so this year I'm toning back some things or trying to do things in a little more strategic manner. So
With
it's not like
what, like the work you're making, or
and just
the
like so I'm
shows,
not
or-
like instead of so I've been firing with a friend, Amy Song, in her train kiln, which is in Chicago, and it's like a 2-hour drive from me. So
Right.
like instead of firing with her like 3 shelves of work or 2 shelves of work 2 different occasions, I'll be firing 4 shelves of work once.
Right.
Okay.
So just like
It just makes it
using
more
my
efficient.
time, and that sort of thing. So
Is that to give you to get you back to like kind of making a body of work, and then that kiln load is gonna show your body of work for that one experience?
I think that part of it is definitely being able to like say, oh, I can put like a full range of forms in one kiln load.
And also, you're
Which-
kind of working to a deadline, sort of, for that too, right?
Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate at the same time.
No,
and talk.
no concentrating on it. And
Multitask.
multitask.
You want to multitask?
Multitask.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm not the greatest multitasker in the world, but
So
what
you're
was I-
scaling down the wood fires with that one person. So you're
Yeah,
gonna cut
and
it
I'm-
down to like 1 instead of 2.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can relate to this with like art fairs and that sort of thing. I'm trying to cut back by a couple.
How many did
and
you do
do-
last year?
Total number of sales I had in the year was 28.
Holy
Some of
crap.
them were only like a 1-day thing. Some of them
Like
were a
shows?
3-day thing. Yeah,
Okay.
28
Wow.
plus
That's a
a
lot.
couple online updates and a couple wholesale-ish
That's a lot.
kind of orders and stuff.
How's online doing for you?
How's what?
Online.
doing for you?
Not where I want it, but I also don't like really.
Are you trying to hold
Try.
yourself
I don't
to
Kurt
do- to
Hammerly
do,
my
like-
online sales, you know.
But are you holding yourself to do like an update every 3 months or something like that?
This
or-
year I'm trying to do an update
Couple-
once a month
once
of
a month.
just 15 pots.
Oh, that's a good number. Okay. So that's
which,
manageable.
which is pretty like for me.
Do you have
um,
15 finished pots anyways? It's just like getting them photographed and getting them on the site.
Yeah, because like anybody who's done shows and like does a circuit of shows, like this past summer I had 6 weekends in a row, that I had shows. So like I have to have a pretty substantial inventory
Right.
going into it. Otherwise, you don't have. So it's just a matter of like, okay, well, I'm going to pick like my 15 favorite pots. Because the other thing with the online sales is, the person's not picking up the pot, so I want to make sure that they're really quality.
Right.
So like,
they know what they're going to get.
The ones that I put online, like, I feel like are definitely like
your best, about the best.
Well, yeah, and it's not like the ones that I bring to shows are like not good pots. It's just like if I've got
they can sell better
20
to
mugs,
a person that's physically there because they can pick it up and they can look at it and they can
experience it.
Right, and they have also a bigger selection at a show.
Yeah, so I'll pick like the 5 that I like the best that are like maybe a representative of my work. Also, I've noticed like my wood-fired work typically sells better online.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I usually lean towards having more wood-fired work on my website.
And also, like, you want to put something online that's going to have the best chance of selling.
Correct.
Like, you're not going to spend that effort and the time to photograph and all that if you're not confident it's going to sell.
Yeah. And I
or
think
that you can afford to let it sit for a week or two if it doesn't sell immediately or however long.
Yeah, and I think kind of looking back on this past year is I have kind of like a gallery wall set up in our home office. So we have the space for me to have stuff that like I have listed online just sitting there.
Right.
Right.
And when it sells, I can grab it off the wall and pack it up and ship it.
That's great.
So and then I'm also hoping that like once it gets into show season, I have a number of people that are like, well, do you have stuff listed on your website? And it's like, well, I have a small selection listed on my website. Right. But I've definitely had people like buy something from me at a show or not buy something from me at a show. And then like a month or two later, I'll get an email, oh, you don't have anything on your online store, but I really want to get something now. Or that sort of thing. So I'm trying to like
is that a lot more hand-holding one-on-one and just getting them to the pot that they want to find? Or
I mean, I've done that, but it's also like if I just had 15 or 20 pots up on my website, they would have just
at all times
bought them.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, cool, I'll pack it up and ship it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't have to spend 20 minutes emailing the person back and forth and being like, well, what sort of pot are you looking for?
Right.
And here, let me take 18 crappy pictures with my phone and send them to you. And then, it's like...
I've got on like Instagram and done video kind of thing. I haven't done one-on-one videos, but like I might record a video showing them a selection of 6 or 8, so I'm not doing so much photographing and
and I started for my home sale this year. I did some I encourage people like if you couldn't make it to my home sale that I do like some video shopping, and I had probably 4 or 5 people that were like someone like was in Colorado, for example, and they wanted to get like a sake bottle kind of thing and some cups for her husband, and so she's like, oh, can you just like take a video of and then so it was worked out really well because then she can see, oh, that's how big it is compared to my hand, and you can look at every side of it in the video, and then I can literally just while she's on there in the video be like, okay, do you like these 2 cups with it or these 2 cups with it?
Right. And plus they feel like it's more like tailored customer service, and they're probably more likely to buy. They're not going to dip out on you.
Yep.
Like at an art show, and somebody else walks up and you show your attention to them, and then it gives them kind of an out to walk away.
Yeah.
You're one-on-one with this person. Nice. Do you cycle out those 15? Like if they don't sell, do you take them down and you put another 15 up so that it drives urgency that it's not going to be up there at all times? Or do you just keep it and you just add to it?
So this year I'm going to try just leaving it up, and then at the end of when I have my home sale, I'll take my whole online store down at my home sale. Mm-hmm. If there's pots left. Hopefully in a perfect world, everything's sold out by the holidays. I'm using Squarespace, so I'm just selling everything on my own.
Have you considered, I switched over to Weebly, and it's through Square, so you can actually sell through Square and sell the inventory that you have on your website?
Yeah, then I have to have the labels sorted and numbered, and if they get mixed up with my other inventory, and then if I'm at a show and I go, oh, this one had a special label on it, oops. Yeah, I'm trying to limit.
I mean, I don't do it, but I was just saying.
Yeah, and I looked into that, and Stripe, which is what Squarespace uses, doesn't integrate well with well, it doesn't integrate with QuickBooks.
Square
So
does.
we have like a workaround. Oh, Square's great with QuickBooks.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of a pain in the patootie.
I just switched from Squarespace to Square.
But
Can
I
I
really
have you
like the
try me?
website builder.
Huh?
Like
Can you have you
Squarespace's
try me?
actual,
Oh yeah.
like their website builder.
Stopwatch?
Yeah.
I got it.
I built my website
Every time I say
and then
Tom,
rebuilt
you
my
relax.
website, and
Sorry,
I built a
sense.
website for. We started a Milwaukee Finecraft Studio tour this fall,
Mhm.
and I built the whole website for that using Squarespace as well.
Right?
Right.
And like their website builder's really slick, and I think stuff looks really professional. And you can, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that just use like the standard, oh look, it's a white Squarespace template kind of thing. But
Right.
once you know like a little bit, you can really like
Time?
tweak some of the colors and make stuff that's
A
you
little
know
more custom
looks
and stands out.
branded. You know, so you're like, oh well,
Yeah.
if I
Time?
have postcards and it's the same sort of like color scheme and font, and everything's that same color scheme and font. You know, someone can
Time?
get a postcard or flyer for like our studio tour, and then they go to the website and they go, oh, I'm definitely at the right spot, because it all looks cohesive
Right.
or has like the same feel.
Mhm.
Which I'm sure Weebly or whatever can do it too, but
Yeah.
it's kind of what I'm used to, and it's at this point I'm like, I don't want to spend the time relearning
Time.
Exactly. Yeah.
something
it's-
else.
Yeah. There's so many options out there.
Done?
And like I'm a web
50
developer
seconds.
by trade, so I think I empathize with people.
Can I
that
see the time?
It's not an easy skill for everybody to do, and it's a lot of their learning curves there for sure.
I'm throwing this too thin.
I mean, I could be
It's
taking,
like 50 went in.
I could be
the
giving
last one,
people a little
Oh, I see.
less
Okay.
of a break. Like
You like
they could probably
Right
know
now?
more than I think
that?
they
Yeah. I
know
can do it on my
nowadays.
phone. Here.
Learning how to develop their own
Like when we
website or
take a
whatever,
screenshot
but
and send it to you?
I just thought of that.
God dang it.
Oh, I think you need to use the. Oh wait, you're using Content, aren't you?
Yeah.
don't you usually use stuff with a little more grit to it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Maybe
I mean,
try the dark play.
let the darkness
What are you looking
No,
at me?
because it's gonna bloat when I fire it up to cone 8.
Because you're gonna take it with you.
Well, I mean, I want the option to take 1 or 2 pots with me,
Mhm.
and so. And this is the biggest thing I think I put that texture on to date.
I would've wedged that
I've
over
put it on a
there.
lot of like mugs, but
Yeah.
so not a 10-inch cylinder, but it's also just a matter of like I just need to leave a little more clay before to get it the shape I want it.
When you're kind of like not
That's
in
me. Sorry.
distracting environment. Not
It's for me.
distracting, but
Well,
you're
and
like,
I've
talking and
I've not thrown this clay body before.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's new variables.
Yeah.
Does
Oh,
Does
yeah.
Joe have any sand laying around? I'll just wedge some sand into it.
I can't spiral wedge. I mean, I can, but it takes a lot to get there, and I get frustrated in the process.
And then you switch sides halfway through.
What's the point of that? Then aren't you just like messing up what you're doing?
No, so when you're spiral wedging, they'll like, oh, this is totally.
This is great audio.
This is great audio.
No,
yeah.
this is fine, actually.
So when you spiral wedge, the
People are still
the,
listening,
the
they're gonna
cone,
listen to the whole
the
thing.
tip of the cone gets wedged really well, but the middle of the fat end does not get
Does
wedged
not.
as well.
So you switch it and then finish out on the
So
other side.
I do one way and then I switch do the other side. And then I also feel like I'm not like favoring one
You're
wrist
kind of
over
like
the other.
balancing it back and forth.
Yeah, I just do it a bunch one way and then I switch it and do it a bunch the other way.
Oh,
and
but
then I
yours
go for it.
doesn't do the little cone shell thingy, right? The shell thingy, does it?
I mean, it's coning on the bottom.
A little bit, okay.
Yeah, so like the coney
Some people are
shell
just-
bit.
Like a slightly different version of. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It has like a
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, where it does. It
but
looks
that's
like
the same
a conch
thing.
shell
It's just
or
like
something.
it's like a more controlled
Yeah.
thing. It's also like he has big hands and it's
It's
small
it's
piece of
also
clay.
mine looks more like that if I use like twice as much clay as I
Yeah.
have.
Right. Your hands are ginormous.
I have bear paws.
Bear paws.
They're all
Bear
palm.
down,
Bear
paws,
come
sausage
bears,
fingers and-
let every play lead the way to victory.
Gloves for you.
No, my hands are all palm.
Chicago Bears.
I just have huge palms.
went to the Rams game, the Bears-Rams game in LA, and the Bears scored. And there's all these Bear fans around there, and I'm like, okay guys, this is what we do. When the Bears score, you sing the fucking fight song. Sorry. Sing the fight song. And I'm singing it, and they're all looking at me like, dude, look at that guy singing some dumb song about the Bears. I'm like, you fake fans. Like, I'm just older than...
Just say, you fake fucks.
Go Packers!
Good luck this weekend. You
Hopefully we beat the
very
49ers. We need to redeem ourselves.
We
Wasn't
beat
pretty
the
first-
Seahawks, right?
Yeah.
Well, you do have, what, 16 men on the field. There's 5 referees, 5 refs, plus the 11 players, so 16 versus 11. They probably have a good chance of winning, I know. No bitterness in my heart.
You're never sarcastic either, I'm sure.
That's okay. I'm going to hell. It'll be an awesome party. Me and whoever killed Jeffrey Epstein. 'Cause he didn't kill himself. That was a
What is that
conversation
sign that we saw
Yeah.
today? What did it say? Oh, we sell guns.
And-
Also,
and
Jeffrey
Epstein
Epstein didn't kill himself.
That was a callback to a conversation we had while we were driving.
Yeah.
That only makes sense to 3 of us.
Yeah, I was not in on that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a gun shop as we were driving by. It's like
Just one. There was only one.
well,
gun
the
shop.
one that we drove by, the one that's between here and the center, the
Yeah.
Dixie Conference Center.
So,
That's pretty funny.
in Wisconsin, every town has like
10 gun
2
shops.
churches and 3 bars.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care how small the town is. Every church has like 2 churches and 3 bars. I feel like when I was driving through Utah, it's like every town has 2 churches and a gun shop.
I feel like in Colorado, it's like 5 churches and 20 gun shops.
California, it's like weed shop.
Weed
No,
shop.
not really. That's the stereotype.
Okay, I'm not gonna mess it up this time, guys.
Sure. Here you are.
Just need to not throw this thin. It's a vase. It can be hefty.
Hefty,
It's not meant to be.
hefty,
It's not
hefty.
meant to be picked up.
It's not
put
meant.
down.
You don't. People don't walk around carrying
Yeah.
a vase with them everywhere. You
Yeah,
it's on a
until
shelf.
they buy it. That's the time when
Oh,
they pick
if
it up.
they want to buy it, I'll walk it to the car.
The car for
Or
them.
give them like a cloth bag or something that's.
Yeah, or I usually have like a
Do you have
couple
3 or
cardboard
4?
boxes with me.
Yeah.
If somebody gets a big pot, I'll
So
give
do I.
them a box. Or a lot of times, some of the art fairs, like the people live right in that like whatever tiny little town it
Yeah.
is. Well, not necessarily a tiny town, but they live pretty close. And
Uh-huh.
so there have been a couple times where they're like, "Well, I don't want to carry it around with me," and I was like, "Well, you can just come get it at the end of the day,
Yeah.
or when you're done walking around, and have them pay first. Always have them pay first."
Always get
Just
their
say,
phone number.
I would like.
and get their phone number. Oh man, there was one person at a show this summer who he bought like 5 pieces from me, and I wrapped them up. And I was like, "Yeah, go to whatever, come back, wrap it up." This is a show I did, a pop-up I did at the mall, and he's like, "Oh well, I had a Genius Bar appointment at Apple, and it took 3 hours."
So you're
So
like,
the
I'm
guy-
closing up for the night.
Well, no, but it was like the guy had come in at like 11, and it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like,
So you thought he forgot.
I need to go grab some lunch, because you just walk away and grab your lunch.
Did you get his phone number?
No. So I was like, but I knew what the guy's name was. And
Uh-huh.
so I was like, tried to find him on Facebook, and like,
I
you live in
totally
Milwaukee,
got
I
that.
live in Milwaukee, we have a mutual friend.
Checks in at Genius Bar.
And I'm just like, oh God, I hope this guy remembers his stuff.
Up at the show that I do in the summer, there's one of the photographers, and it was so funny one time. He was like, well, yeah, like, my customer hasn't come back. And I was like, well, you got their phone number, right? And this is a guy who sells, like, thousands of dollars in photographs. Like, he's been doing it for 18 years, and he's like, well, no. Do you get their phone number? I'm like, every
so you're
time.
gonna find them.
And he looks so dumbfounded. He was like, what? Like, you're
that's
a really good smart guy. Like, I would have expected that to be a no-brainer for you.
Well, it never occurred to me to ever get their phone number until this happened. And then I was like, oh, what if a person just, like...
forgets.
Yeah, and then you're screwed.
Yeah. And then I'm like, well, how long am I going to hold on to it for?
Yeah. Even when you have their phone number, it doesn't matter. I've had a lady who's had pumpkins that they painted at the shop, and I've called her, and it's been since October.
I mean, I'm sure you have that all the time.
You need
People
signs like Joe has that says, if it's still here after 60 days, it's our
days.
property.
It's right there.
Oh, those are for the stuff back here. For paint your pot at 60 days.
No, I have it on the card that they get sent home with.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to tediously restamp this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a torch if that helps.
That might help, actually.
Oh, with this bee clay, yeah, I probably need to not try throwing it all at once. No, I should be able to. I just need to not. I threw this one a little thicker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have it if you need.
Mister, I don't need their phone number.
I didn't say that. I said it's a good idea, and I started doing it.
Yeah, definitely don't have the, I'll come back and see you or something like that.
All right, if those of you that have done art fairs, what's the silliest animal you've seen somebody bring with them to an art fair?
Oh, those are my favorite.
I'm
What's
a
the
big
silliest
fan of the
animal
people that
you've
have
seen?
people with like cockatiels on their shoulder.
No.
I've had
Why not
lizards,
art fair?
snakes.
I've never seen a lizard or a snake.
They're pretty tame. I don't have anything crazy.
We had kittens.
I had somebody's dog freaking mark the corner of my booth once.
We had a dog
That
shit in
I
front
was
of our
pissed
booth.
about. That happens. I was more
On
ticked
cement.
off because the dog peed on my booth.
Did he buy something?
No, the person just walked away awkwardly. And I was like, you're not going to clean that up? I said that to him, and he just kept walking.
One of my friends...
And there was somebody, like somebody else that was at the art fair that I was at, and they're like, did that person just walk away after their dog did that? And I was like, I don't know. Some people's children.
One of my friends, there was this little kid in front of his painting, and he picked his nose and stuck a booger onto his painting, and then he walked away, and he was like, "Hey, come back here!" And then the little kid and the dad was like, "What?" And he's like, "He just stuck a booger on my painting."
Oh my God. Was it like a portrait he put on his nose, or was it just
I don't know. I don't know exactly where on the painting.
landscape? He's like it's a little tree.
He does do like really amazing forest.
You have a lot of happy trees. That's great.
Landscapes.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
He's from Wisconsin.
Your friend?
Yeah.
He doesn't like dogs.
Yeah?
Pete Kornelski.
I don't recognize the name.
I think that
But-
you guys live in different areas.
That's entirely possible. And also, it's like, I feel, I mean, it's now that I've been doing more art fairs, I definitely have a lot more friends that are not potters, but I still, like, know way more clay people
Yeah.
than like, random jeweler.
You see those people at multiple shows, but you're like,
Well, and it's not till like the fourth time you're at a show with them where you're like, hey, I think we've done a couple shows together. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Andrew.
it's like I don't wear
whatever.
jewelry, but I mean, I see you all the time.
Yeah,
Whatever.
well, and that's the thing is I'm like, I'll appreciate the heck out of some really nice jewelry. I don't even hardly ever wear my wedding ring because it just gets clay, and I can't throw with a wedding ring on.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, no really weird animals. I mean, I saw like a girl with a cat in a backpack, the one with like the little bubble on the back.
Or the cat in the stroller. That's happened a number of times.
I have not seen that.
Cat in a stroller.
I've seen dogs in
I
strollers.
took a 3-week-old kitten in a backpack to a clay festival, but only because I rescued him and I was bottle feeding.
Wow.
Well, and you're also the artist sitting there, right? Or was it?
No, I was
Oh, you were
walking
walking?
around. I was
I bet you attracted the crowd.
Yes. And all of the booth artists wanted me to come to their booth with my kitten so they
I would too.
Yeah.
That's great.
We
Yeah.
my wife showed up, will help me at some shows, and some of them she'll bring one of our dogs, and then people are like, "Oh my God, puppy, cute."
Yeah. In Leavenworth, since it's a tourist town, there's so many dogs. And, like, I feel bad for anybody who has a puppy because they don't get anywhere. They, like, walk. Oh my God, your puppy is so cute. Walk. Oh my God, your puppy is so
The
cute.
puppies
like,
love it.
over
Puppies
and
love
over
it.
and over and over. And they do love it. The parents may not.
Don't bring your puppy. But yeah, I don't know. If you're bringing an animal to a dog fair, you should make sure that it's well under control and will listen to you. Because I don't know, I've had friends that are like, "Yeah, I had to break up a dog fight in front of my booth," and it's like, what the? Like, if you've got a dog that's reactive and you're trying to socialize it, great. Don't do that at an art fair where there's breakable things.
Right?
And like lots of people.
Yeah.
That's why I have hanging shelves. So dogs can walk under them.
What about kids?
That too. Seriously.
My problem with that is I have so many people that, like, especially like little old ladies, bless their hearts, they come in and they're like
Bless your
leaning on the booth. You know what I mean?
On
And
like
they're-
your pedestals or something like that?
Yeah, and I was a lot more. I used to be nervous about it when I just had
That's
like
'cause they
these
look
folding
sturdy.
tables. My pedestals, those aren't going anywhere.
So they were like, because they're exhausted from walking around,
Well, or
they're
just like,
leaning on it.
you know, you're walking around, or it's a hot day, and you just want to like lean on something because it's
Yeah,
there to lean on.
yeah.
And I feel like if they touched a, I have some broken needle tools.
Got it.
I got one. I got a DIY needle tool.
Those are my two scratchy tools that have the same handle as a needle tool.
Throwing tools around.
All right. I'm gonna try to not mess this up this time, guys.
We believe in you.
Okay, nobody ask me questions while I'm doing this.
Thank you. No questions.
Well, you guys can talk, but otherwise it's
Yeah,
gonna be
so
a
I have a
really
lot of.
boring
I don't do a lot
podcast.
of art. I don't do the art fairs very
Yeah, when's the
often.
last time you did an art fair?
Ever?
Like a art fair, I think.
Yeah, I don't know the market in Southern California. Are there a lot of them?
I think that there's some good ones in LA. If you go like to let's
There's
just
like a month-long one down in Laguna. isn't
yeah,
there?
there's a Sawdust Festival. Yeah, so like the beach cities are good.
You all have
and
great weather year round, so I mean.
yeah, and
I'm sure there's a big
LA has a couple, things that are cool. But I
Like
do most of my
Renegade.
sales online now because
Yeah.
I get. It's easier to just do online sales.
Well, you've
mostly.
got
And-
like kids to be home with. On
yeah,
weekends.
and I'm lucky that I don't have to sell pottery to make a living, so
Yeah.
it's all kind of like
It's like, what do you want to do?
it's like what I want to do with my time, and I think ultimately, like I like teaching, but I think ultimately I would like to not be a high school teacher, so that's why I think I've been focusing really hard over the last couple of years on like trying to be more of an artist and entering into shows, and I think Instagram's has done a lot to help me like.
Expand
Be
out
more
and find your
engaged.
market
Well, be
too.
more engaged. I think it was more of like the community. I'm like feeling a part of like a community again. Because like when you're a student, you're like taking classes and you have like people you hang out and work with and get feedback from. And then I became a high school teacher, and it's like super isolating, and like you're in a bubble and you don't. It's easy just to like be like I'm the teacher and students come and I make what I make, and it's like 2014, 2015. I think I started like paying more attention and realized like, oh, there's like a big ceramics community on Instagram. And then I think in 2016 I started getting a little more serious, and then it was like early 2017 I think I was really like, oh, like I'm a happier person when I'm like making stuff all the time. And then getting the feedback and like posting and getting like making new connections and kind of making friends and kind of like building that part up, I think helped me take it a little more like prioritize it, because like once I got married and a lot of my time went to that, and then I had kids. I think having kids made me kind of want to be more of an artist. Like, I need this like me time back.
And how old are your kids?
2.5 and 4.5. So
they're not needy at all.
No. But my oldest one is Owen Clay Reich. Middle name was Clay, and then the younger one is Nathan Ash Reich. So I got the Clay and the Ash in there. In retrospect, I wish I would have just pushed for like Clay Reich, because Clay Reich would have been a sweet name.
That would have been a cool name for sure.
But he's got the middle name.
And everybody
always
would
go by
call
his
him
middle
by
name.
both names, Clay Reich.
Clay Reich, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
I think this is
But
a
it's
good
this clay's
profile.
soft,
yeah.
but it's even all the way up.
Exactly.
No thick bottoms for you.
No thick bottoms.
The bottom's a little white on this.
I think you should make
You
it
could do a little trimmy under.
Make
I
it
like
more
the
roundy.
the definition of the texture at the bottom. Like you can see it very clear.
Yeah.
I like it at the top. We're so different.
Well, I like
I
the.
like-
He was talking about the bottom, but I was like, I like how you can see the definition of.
Yeah,
It's like the
true.
foundation, and then it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
blown up.
Watch, and then he takes all the texture.
No, I'm just one little, just down at the bottom. I'm trying to
Back to like
frame
the
it a little better.
Instagram thing and selling online. I just feel like your work, with the quantity you're making, like it caters to finding a bigger audience finding
Yeah.
that niche market that will buy it. Versus
Yeah.
like
We don't
you're
make
working
niche
against
pots.
such a big.
Yeah, I'm much different than your guys' like production quantity.
I
used to
don't
be- I
make
used-
nearly as many pots.
I mean, maybe
as
there's a
Becca.
big market for.
I probably make about the same amount of
sneaker-
pots as
sneaker
Ryan does.
There's not.
brand things
Well,
in
you
Southern
know what's funny
California,
is that-
maybe, but
Really.
it
Well,
would
I
be
thought about
harder
going to,
find
like,
those kind of people.
There was a
But I
thing in
spent half an
Anaheim
hour
called
making
Designer
them,
Con,
so.
which is like I think that might be a place that might be more appealing to my thing as opposed to like an art fair.
Yeah.
You should definitely go to Designer Con.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
at
like
the
a
same time,
specialty
like,
sort of.
I don't know if the online's kind of easy in its own
You
way.
should try to sell them on those like, you know, they've got those like luxury shoe resell
Yeah.
websites.
Yes!
That's where you need to
But
have
yeah,
them.
Designer Con is definitely a good idea to try. There was a guy actually who did something, I don't remember what he was doing, but he was
That's better.
using sneakers and taking them apart and making something.
Oh
making
yeah,
masks.
making like
Yeah.
sculptures. Oh, I've seen the
Sculptures.
map.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's
definitely like kind of a subculture market that I'm kind of
Yeah.
starting to get more into, and it's kind of. I don't know, I've always liked being kind of like weird.
Right.
I've always been like not an outcast, but kind of like I'm gonna do me.
Oddball a little bit.
I'm always been kind of like I'm gonna do it, kind of what I want. Like with like the whole Chicago Bears thing. Like growing up in Southern California, I'm like the guy that likes the Bears and the Bulls and the Cubs.
Bears, go Packers.
And then it's like everybody's like Dodger fans, and they're like, why do you like the Cubs? And they're like Laker fans, Magic Johnson. Like,
as long as
Magic
you're not a
Johnson,
Yankees
I'm like,
fan, we'll get along great.
yeah.
What?
Oh, I'm not a Yankees.
I said as long as you're not a Yankees fan, we'll get along
I'm
great.
not a
Yeah.
Cardinals fan either. I hate the Cardinals almost as much as I hate the Packers. But the Cardinals fans are just the best, though. They're the most amazing.
Are they?
No, they have this reputation. Like we're the smartest fans.
Oh, really?
We're like the most like best baseball
I see,
knowledge.
I see.
So
I really like their stadium.
sure, everybody that's in St. Louis, like they're listening, they're just like, who's this guy? F this guy. But yeah.
I don't know how big our wheel talk market is in St.
Yeah.
Louis, Missouri,
Yeah.
but
I think we're
That's
mostly
okay.
West Coast.
Is that Bushfield?
Busch Stadium.
Bushfield?
It's a
That's
really nice
really
stadium.
nice ballpark.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause you both really like baseball, right?
I'm pro baseball.
Pro
I
baseball,
mean,
you
I don't
like-
follow
I like
sports
baseball.
super duper close,
like
but I
baseball.
really enjoy watching them when I have the time to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm not, like-
Watching football bothers me because it takes so long.
I
to
really
get
like the
everything done.
ballparks. I don't know. They each have their own personality in baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
The new
Versus
I Love
football and
Target
stuff,
Field
like
is
there's
so
only
nice
so
now.
many variations a football
Fire!
field can really have.
Fire!
Denise is raccooing indoors again.
Fire!
The new Twins Stadium.
Ooh, that is nice. I
It's
saw
super
that
nice.
during Encika in 2018.
Yeah.
I
I really
now,
should
right?
have. I should have
It's
talked to you
freezing
and
outdoors, right?
gone with you guys because that's just a fun.
Yeah, it was like the very first weekend of the season, you know.
The first time we went there was my wife and I went
So it was cold.
on
It's outdoor.
exactly 1 year before we were getting married because we were engaged. So we were like, noticed the date and we're like, hey, it's like our preversary.
Our preversary.
We're getting married
Oh,
exactly
no, that's
1
a
year
thing.
from
Is that
today.
your custom form?
Yeah.
Oh.
Custom GR pottery form.
Custom GR.
Yeah, Jeff Rotman's great.
Wait, is that what they're named after?
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids
Grand
Pottery
Rapids,
Farm?
Michigan.
They're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. GR.
Okay.
Jeff with a J.
Oh,
Jeff
okay.
with a J, not with a G.
Although, what?
There are Jeffs with G's.
Yeah, I
G-E-O-F-F.
think he spells Jeff with a J.
He does.
Maybe it's like double GR.
I don't
I
know.
think it's.
Geoff.
Yeah, I don't know. Jeff's a
I
good
met
guy.
him at Alabama Clay Conference last year. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I
I
think it
could have
looks
made
really
the
good.
bottom just a smooth skinnier, but it's good.
Mhm. Looks nice.
It's got volume. It's got curves.
That's thick with grease already.
We got here like 10.
I know. Sorry.
Are you going to be here all night, Denise?
No. I'm leaving when you guys leave.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, because we have the key.
And 10 minutes alone here kind of creeped me out.
Oh, really?
I heard every single noise. It's all unfamiliar.
I would die of happiness if I was alone in here. Not that I don't like you guys, but like...
well, that's how it seems.
No, like when I'm in my studio alone, I love it, like just being there by myself. But then some of my students are like, "Are you safe in there alone?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I love it.
The door's
Get out of
locked.
here.
Like
What's your town again?
Monroe.
Is that like a sketchy town?
There's a lot of homeless, but yeah, it's pretty sketchy. But
I feel like there's a lot of homeless on the West Coast in general.
it's warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, there's a lot less.
There's not a lot of homeless in like. I mean, there's definitely homeless people in
Yeah.
Milwaukee, but it's cold in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah. I don't know. I'm fine with all the homeless guys. You have to say hello to them and treat them like a human, and most of them are just fine back.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. But it's a lot of drug like lots of drugs and
Like meth.
yeah, hardcore meth and heroin.
Usually meth.
Yeah. And you know them by name, and it's like, oh, that looks like that person, But, there's some of them that are fine. They're
Someone just got
mostly-
shit happens. It sucks.
Yeah, shit happens.
Like shit happens. It sucks.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. I timed.
Nice bottle.
Nice.
You normally make those?
No, I don't like bottles. They're useless.
You can put a nice flower in.
What?
A
They
nice
don't
flower.
sell.
I mean, you know what? That if you're gonna be doing more of your painting stuff, that could be an interesting canvas. to
That's
mix it
true.
up. Like you
And-
could do more of the art piece on stuff like
That's
that.
a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt
Did
like
you use any of the stoppers I sent you?
I tried. I tried to put it in a soap dispenser, and then it kept on popping out. I think that
You
on
have
the
to have
stu-
vertical. You can't have it really like
yeah,
a V
and
shape.
also I want to stop glazing the inside. If I don't glaze the inside of the very top, if I just like wax that part,
Yeah, I think you told me that. I still haven't
and then
tried
it should stay. One of the the oil stoppers,
Yeah.
the rubber. Yeah.
Yeah.
It pops out with the glaze, and then
Just
I was
like
maybe
that.
if you don't
Like
glaze
that
the
Yeah.
first
would
top
become
inch.
a bottle. Like an oil
You
bottle.
do those soap pumps too?
I
No,
do.
I just bought some actually off Amazon that I can E6000 like glue onto the top, and then it's like you just screw it. Because
Yeah.
I tried the cork thing, but the corks are. It's
'Cause I
a little
sent
more
him
finicky.
some
I
corks.
always feel like
Those corks are too flaky though, and they're too small.
I always feel like
Make
the
the bottle
soap pumps
small.
are like
Oh,
these.
oh yeah,
to
right.
fit a pump inside.
Yeah.
that cork.
My problem with them has always been I feel like those soap pumps are like this
Oh, no,
like
they're
cheap
different.
white plastic.
They look so bland, right?
Yeah.
well, and it's
I mean,
like
I get the black one.
I
but-
have the ones that are in the cork. They have a cork thing, and
I
then
got
the
some of those,
pump
too.
goes through.
But
the
those
cork.
corks are like really big.
They are big.
I don't know. I just feel like the ones that are like the white plastic, like it's like
I want like
you
a
have this
metal
nice piece of handmade pottery, and then you have this like
I agree.
chintzy ass plastic
Right.
white.
Yeah, like
I mean, I got
I
the
don't-
black one. We'll see how the black one went. I mean, on your pots, like, it wouldn't look like
No,
neither of
yeah.
those two would look good.
Yeah.
You got a natural
Um,
cork one.
You know, and it's like I don't know,
Well, he's
but
talking
I
about the
looked at
pump
soap
itself.
dispensers one time online, and I never saw like ones that were even like metal or something that like looked finished better, other than like black plastic looks better than white plastic, but
Right.
yeah.
We'll see. I got the ones that I can glue on top of the top, and as long as it's narrow enough and it doesn't look awkward, like, it should be fine. And I'll see how it glues on top of the ceramic.
yeah.
But I might need to leave those unglazed on the very top so that it sticks better, maybe.
This, Becca.
Yeah, hold on, let me get this. I'm gonna ghost you.
I think I'm too fat and your arms are too short.
Possible.
We should get a photo of that. So that's how you do your pulls?
That's my first pull.
Huh. See, I always thought it was weird. Like, some people do, like, this thing.
Oh,
I've
I see
seen
that.
that.
How do
I
you
don't
do
know
that?
how you
Oh,
do that.
Kevin does that, right?
Kevin went to Taiwan for like a year and like worked in a Taiwanese with like a. I think it was Taiwan.
Kowalski.
Yeah, he went to Taiwan. I think it was Taiwan for like a year, and I know he like worked with a guy there, and I think that
Yeah.
changed his like throwing style.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he learned that from there. But yeah, I've tried that, and it's just not.
Because he's doing it with his left hand mostly, right? Not his right.
I'm not sure exactly.
I don't know.
what it
It's
is.
You-
weird.
just
Here's
for the
a
people
question.
that are listening. We're talking about when people flip their hand kind of over,
Yeah, so
Upside
they,
down.
upside down.
Yeah, so
Really
you're kinda-
close to their like.
yeah, your
Outside.
thumb. Let's say you're using your left hand, and it's like a check mark.
Oh, they're doing it like this with their left
I
hand.
think so,
No, they do it with their
Or is it
right
with their
hand. I
right?
think they're like.
but it's like it's upside down.
They're like-
Becca's
So it's
ghosting me now.
It's like palm
Oh, it's
up.
gotta be with their left hand because it doesn't work.
It's like,
I don't. This is so awkward. Like, why would you? My like arm doesn't bend that way.
But I
It's
don't know
something
if
like
they're
that, and
still
it's like
they're
this.
still making contact on the right side to like push, or if they're doing it on the left side, because it wouldn't make sense. To
All right.
them.
Here's a random throwing question. When you center, do you plant your right hand or your left hand?
Left.
My left, because I'm pushing
like,
down
which
on my
way
right.
First,
Do you pull center?
Do you pull?
I go like
You
right
pull on
hand?
the center.
I just squeeze and go up, and then
You do right hand. Because I do my right hand.
I do right hand dominant, my
And then
left
my
hand.
left
My
hand
whole
on
right
top,
hand's
and
touching,
you
and my
do
left
opposite
hand's
of that.
mainly the palm.
I do left hand bottom, right hand
So
on top.
you keep your.
Oh
right
wait,
hand.
no, that's a lie. Hold on.
She's talking about efficiencies over here, and
I know. Gosh. Look at me.
Speaking of efficiency, I'm way less efficient when I have to talk to you guys. I'm feeling.
I'm way less.
You're welcome.
Ryan, I'm stealing one of those.
But you know
pieces
what?
of play.
You'll remember it tonight. All those other days in the studio, you're just like, it's another day in the
It's
studio.
a blur. It's
Okay.
a blur.
So
Except for that one day that my dog tried to eat a leather hard bowl right after I trimmed it. Pulled it off the leather. I was like, what the
Oh,
hell,
yeah,
dog?
sometimes you
And he just
remember.
looked at me like, well, you weren't petting me, you jerk.
is there? There was a 2x4
I
over
digress.
there on a sponge. You know what? I need to
A
put.
sponge
Oh,
on a
yeah,
2x4
you want a
or
foot
it's
block?
2x4 on a
I'm
sponge?
surprised he
There's
doesn't
a
have
2x4
bricks
on a
floating
sponge.
around. Why doesn't he have bricks floating around?
Two by four on a sponge.
You
Becca
normally throw-
is using the 2x4 to put under her left foot while she's throwing,
Okay,
so that her
gotcha.
feet are the same height.
Gotcha.
Do you normally throw standing up or sitting down?
Sitting, but my wheel's normally up. Like,
Oh, so you're
I'm
taller.
sitting like this.
Yeah.
Like my wheel head's normally about belly button height.
Right.
And you throw standing up, right?
Standing
And you
up.
throw sitting?
Sitting, I have to.
I couldn't do standing up in my studio because my ceilings are too low. And if I made a pot that was like over a foot tall,
Oh, yeah.
I'd have to stand on something else, and then I'd be royally effed.
Yeah.
My head would be like in between the rafters, and it'd be worse.
So I lock my left, but when I'm pushing the cone down, I'm usually pushing down with my left.
And then you lock that left hand, because I always do my right hand.
Ooh.
But I've talked to a
That's
number
cool.
Yeah, I'm
That's
definitely.
crazy.
is
in the microwave.
raccoon in a microwave, and it's a beautiful raccoon rainbow.
Definitely left hand.
Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
No,
like,
my left
I mean,
hand's
just like
stronger.
this. You're talking about, am I anchored on the left?
Yeah,
or
when
right?
you go to center it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely left.
Because I was just noticing, so I teach at like a community clay studio in Milwaukee, and one of the other teachers he teaches high school, but a lot of my students that have had him all plant their left hand, and it's funny because like I'll demo how to throw stuff every once in a while, or like, oh, this is how we center, or how I center, and they're like, oh wait, am I doing it wrong if
As
my
long as it
other
gets to the
hand's
middle
down? And I'm
and
like,
it's
if
steady.
it works, go for it.
Yeah, you do you, boo. You do you.
But I think in high school I
I was-
learned the like 2 hands behind and like pull it toward you.
See, and I only do that when I have like more than like 6 pounds of clay.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a function of my stupid big
And we
palms.
didn't learn to like cone up, cone down. Back in high school when we were learning.
Oh, yeah. I learned that on the YouTube, I think.
The YouTube. I learned it from my teacher, production teacher.
I can't remember where I learned it. I think I've always been coning, but I don't know.
Like I've been
Probably
coning-
learned it. I've been doing streaming for 27 years, so it's kind of like, I don't remember when I first learned it.
You learned in Fullerton, right?
I learned at Claremont High School.
Claremont, but where'd you go to college?
I went to Chaffey for a year. So I went to Chaffey College in Rancho for like 3 years, 4 years, 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to Cal State Fullerton. But I started when I was a freshman in high school, and that was like 1992. So like I barely remember like exactly how. I know
They're
who taught me.
giggling because we're all like.
I was born in 91.
Yeah, I know. But whatever. Fine. I mean, it is
And
what
we
it
were
is.
born in 90.
Becca and I were both born in 90.
We're
So.
all grown. I'm probably more immature than all 3 of you. So.
Well, you know,
Well, I don't know. You guys
when
are all
we
kind of
went-
mature in your own way.
When we went to the restaurant and they were asking us if any of the people were a kid, we all looked at each other and were like, well, Ryan's coming.
I'm the oldest. Hey.
It's good. It's
Who
good
drove,
that you're a kid.
who drove your asses here?
That's right.
Thanks,
drives
Dad.
And right, none of you guys have kids, right?
No.
What's wrong with me? What happened?
Nothing's wrong with you.
No, I'm just old. I'm not even that old.
You're not old, you're a
I'm
young
a baby.
chicken.
I'm 42. I'm like,
Gary
I got at
V,
least-
you're a baby, man.
I'm a baby. Yeah, exactly. I got at least 50 years in me. Like, I'm not even at halftime yet. Like my grandparents, my dad, going to be pretty old. Like I get pretty deep into my 80s. I hope.
Yeah,
And my-
who knows what it's gonna be like in like 20 years? You don't
My
know.
brother is convinced, like, oh yeah, like we're gonna live to be like 150. I'm like, oh.
I don't want to live that long. I don't think.
I don't know.
Is that a throwing stick?
If I could be a
Yeah.
functional adult
Oh,
and
let's
keep
try
making pots, like die
Have
at
you
the
ever thrown
wheel,
with the
die at the
throwing
wheel,
stick,
push me in the
Becca?
kiln, turn me on.
Have you ever thrown with a throwing stick? No?
If you say that again?
Like I want to die at the wheel and then just push me into the kiln.
Yeah,
Fire me up?
fire me up.
I want to be added to a glaze.
Yeah,
And then
I
I
told
wanna
my
be
I told
made
my
on
wife,
mugs,
I'm like,
and I
you
want
can just
everybody-
dump my ashes on top of a big pot in a wood kiln and
Yeah.
call it good.
Yeah. Or
And
like-
that'll be my urn. I'll be on the outside of the urn instead of
I
the
just want
inside
to
of
freak
the urn.
somebody
It'll
out
be
by
great.
being burned in a kiln.
That too.
I just want to be like I just want to be immortalized in coffee mugs for everybody I know. They're like, you're drinking out of me.
a fire.
Dark. I love it.
This took a very dark turn.
I'm Ryan Reich.
When I was firing a wood kiln, must have been like about a year ago, and one of the people who was firing with us had a large pot that he fired somebody's their pet's cremains on
Yeah.
as like a memorial
You
kind
put
of
the
thing.
remains inside of it.
No, so it was wood fired. It was like a big base that he side fired and then spread the ashes along the top of it.
Wow.
And so the ashes basically just formed all the ash drips.
Right. They look pretty cool after.
It was a neat pot, yeah.
I want to make some bucket of glaze.
Yeah.
Like an ash bucket. I think that'd be
Get your name on the glaze.
yeah. Like the
Reich ash.
And then when it gets down to the bottom, they're like, oh, Ryan's only like it. There's only a little bit of Ryan. Add a little water and get it out.
Just dump them in the
scrap
bucket.
Throw them in the scrap.
He can go in the mystery
Live on
glaze.
forever. I live forever in the scrap bucket, you know? Because it'll just keep adding to it.
So I throw this thicker, and then we cut the top. We cut the sides.
Are you going to try making one of my mugs?
Yes, I am. Do you cut the sides with your cheese cutter or with that cutter?
Cheese slicer. I'm from
The
Wisconsin,
same,
Becca.
the same thing that he does all his facets with.
Oh yeah, I should show you my.
These?
Oh yeah!
They're like $11 on Amazon. They're all metal. They're super heavy duty. They're great.
Look at Victoria's cheese slicer.
Whoa!
This
And it's
is a
adjustable.
cheese slicer.
Yeah. It's even got like lines for
Yeah.
specific depths and stuff.
Yeah, so you just press these together and then you can move them.
That's cool.
That's like a slab cutter.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, you can theoretically.
I like that
can
better.
cut
You know, I
cheese.
see a lot of people that have like the sticks with the little notches in them, and they put their around it, and then they pull it
Yeah.
through. That seems so much slicker.
Well, that's because it was made in
Super
Europe.
Yeah.
And those are kind of hard to find around here.
Yeah.
But that's
They're everywhere in
a
Europe.
machine
But you
shop
can't
guy
find
can
them
make
here.
that.
I've,
really quick.
I've tried so many times. I've even imported them when I was going back and forth from Sweden to here.
Yeah.
I used to, like, people were like, please
No.
bring some. And I was these are heavy.
I'm gonna.
I can bring
Maybe
one.
You could bend a piece of rebar.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I think,
I'm gonna
yeah.
ask Maud to
Rebar
get
has
me
little
one.
Yeah.
notches. If you just
Dude,
got the
because she
rebar
can get
notches
one
to
for
line
sure.
up.
Okay,
She can.
Cheese slicer.
I think a piece of rebar and a grinder.
Yeah,
I could make one.
you could.
You just put it
You
right
get
there.
It'd be pretty ghetto.
Yeah.
It
No,
would
I thought
work.
I had a second one with
Or
me,
you
but
can
I
just
don't
like
think I left it
find
at home.
someone who works
Do
with
you
metals and
put
she
this
does
one
like have them to
down?
actually
Like a machinist.
Other
Yeah.
way.
have
That
a
way.
machinist. I don't know if you have. Do you have that at school?
And I go bottom up,
Kevin does, but they have Kevin.
Kevin does.
and then you pull away,
They
like
should
right,
have
so
the
that the
students make
rim
it.
stays thick.
Yeah.
Don't
At
pull
his school.
through the rim. You pull
I
away
think
right at
there's
the
some you
rim. Does that make sense?
Yeah, she pulled
having
it. She
students
pulled it
learn
away
the hard
like
way.
3/4 of an
Roll
inch
it
from
out,
the
pull
top.
it out.
Sure.
Low tech.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm like the low tech.
but
I
there's
mean,
also
that's not how I do it.
For
way
us, I
to-
think.
to
Well, it
join
looks like
little-
yours are about
Yeah.
3/4 of an inch from the rim
Yeah.
there.
Like that?
That's because
That's
I
pretty
throw
cool.
the rim after it's done, and that's
Oh,
why
so
it
you
gets
cut it
wavy.
all the way up?
I cut it, and then I so I cut all the way
We
up,
have
but instead of going
similar to that.
through the
Uh-huh.
rim, I go right at the
Yeah.
Right where
the
the
edge of the
rim-
rim. I
like it's
cut,
the big
pull it
cheese
towards
cutter.
that
Yeah.
edge of the
But it's
rim.
like wide.
Right.
So it's
And
kinda
you can
like
get
just
the
So it's
flick
right
it
where
out.
the
people
rim
can
meets
find
the
them,
wall,
but they're
basically.
like
It's
thin.
like so soft
So
that it's
they
like pulling. Do you
break and
usually
they,
put your
like,
hand
sturdy
inside to
and
hold
bend
it?
and- 'cause I
Yeah, how
used
did
to
it
have,
not
like,
Yeah, I
deform
put
the
a hand-
pot
Like-
when you were?
like,
Yeah, I put my hand
And all
inside.
perfect slabs. Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yours also is probably a little too thin.
Quiet.
Thin thrower over there.
This is thick.
I can throw thin when I want to.
Of course you can.
I just don't want to. Pick up one of my big beer steins and you go like, well, this is clearly thrown thin. Like if I make a 1 liter beer stein out of 2 pounds of clay, it's not thrown thick.
How big is a liter? How many? Like
33 ounces, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It weighs a kilo.
Yes. If it's water.
Yes.
Is that a pint? What's a
A
pint?
pint is 16 ounces.
Yeah.
That's it.
Two,
Oh,
Quart
it's
is what,
basically
2
32?
cups.
2 pints.
And then like an imperial pint, I think, is 20 ounces or whatever they.
it's bigger than that.
So that's like a UK pint. Is that what you
Yes.
mean by that? Okay.
In the
Is there a
U.S.,
UK
sometimes they call
quart?
them bombers, but I think those are technically like 22 ounces or something. I don't know.
Okay, so wait.
Okay,
I think I threw an inch.
now it's
I'm
throwing
gonna
stick
try
time.
using that. Okay, so
I'm gonna try that too.
this is just. Do you put it in water?
Yeah, I dip the tip in water.
Dip the tip.
Okay.
Dip the
That's
tip.
what she said.
Nice.
And then,
I was waiting for it.
and then you just
And I usually support the rim with my left hand. And then I push away from me. So I
From
flip
you
it
on this
around
side or
when I
this
hold
side?
it. So flip it, yep.
Like 11
Yep.
o'clock.
And I push towards like 11 o'clock.
How do you keep
And then
that sturdy?
Practice.
So my left hand is opposite it, and I rest my other hand
Oh.
on my. So it's like a
Wow.
lever.
Lever.
Mm-hmm.
Little lever.
You have to brace it just like you would if you.
Ah!
Great.
Anybody can make a faceted pot, but you have to make like 500 of them to make them like. Oh, that's a good faceted pot.
Right.
Oh my god, I went through so many really bad faceted pots when I was in college. So many bad pots.
I think also you have to leave the rim thicker than you think.
Oh, yeah, that's why I told
Yeah.
Becca that she threw it too thin. Look how thick I made this cylinder, Becca. The rim is how thick it is all the way
Right.
down. It's like 3/8 of an inch thick.
Right.
Okay.
And
See,
do
I
you
made
then-
something like that.
Well,
in
it
a
was your
demo
first
or
time
something,
doing
Do you
it.
then
but
thin
it's-
out the rim a little bit after,
That's
like
hard.
after
Yeah, I
you're done?
throw the.
Yeah. Right, you throw the rim after, yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna do another one.
But for like cups, I don't throw the rim. I just go right up to it. And,
I mean, it's not too shabby.
and bowls, I don't throw the rim at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary.
This is a pretty heavy duty cutter.
Yeah. It's like 12
And
bucks on
and
Amazon.
the string goes right down to the bat.
Yes.
If you hold it that direction.
Do you
does.
like it? Do you hold it that
I actually hold it the other direction. I think it's just because that's how I do it.
way? Yeah.
I don't think there's like a
Right way or...
specific.
Yeah,
I
I
could-
did some of these at like a demo.
It cuts more off if you flip it from how you're holding it.
Because you can go right, basically like you're cutting off a pot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that other. I bet you don't.
You
Okay.
should just try using the jug stick like throwing a bottle.
Yeah, instead of something faceted.
Yes.
Yeah, they're trying to do 2 new things at once.
Oh, you have one of those.
So for the audio folks, Becca and I are basically just trying to throw an Andrew mug.
Andrew Linderman.
I
Look
can
him
throw a
up.
Becca mug.
At Linderman
Everybody
Pottery.
can throw it.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
But can everybody sell a Becca?
And can you do it in 50 seconds?
Yeah.
How much do you
45.
sell your
45
mug
cents.
for?
20. 25. No, we timed it, and so he timed it.
Yeah, 45 seconds.
It was like
You
45.
fussed, the last like 20 seconds was like,
I fussed with it, and
you could have been done like
yeah.
10 seconds
Well,
earlier.
and also that was one that I just kind of like threw 2 pieces together, so I had a little wiggle in it.
Yeah.
But I was actually surprised at how fast these 2 poles, like each pole was like 8 seconds, I think.
Okay.
And so
I'm turning it into a Becca pot.
I was gonna say I stole
That,
your
so this is how
tool,
much
so-
more height I can get out of it when I'm actually throwing it efficiently.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's twice as big.
We should race.
Oh.
I'm
Are you gonna have a race? Are you gonna be like, who
Yeah,
thinks
I
they
wanna
can
have
throw
a
a
race.
45-second thing and like bring them up and be like,
Yeah,
all right,
or
come up
same
here.
amount. We can. in
I
the
have to think
shortest
so
time,
hard
throw
to put the throwing
tallest
lines in
thing.
there because I usually throw so much tighter.
There you go.
That's kind of Becky, right?
No.
Yours
That's
are a lot
Graves
loose.
Coey.
Yours are a lot looser, aren't they?
Yeah, like
They're
mine are.
thicker,
Yeah, here, just like I'll do it this
Thicker
time.
They're like that.
Yeah.
Like this
that.
one right here.
There you go.
There
we
you
go.
go.
Yep.
That's a big cup.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I drink tea of in the morning.
That's like
Seriously.
that's like
that
probably
is mine.
25 ounces.
I have a beer stain that I drink tea
Yeah.
of in the morning. It's like a giant, like
What
a
kind
liter
of tea do you
one.
lift?
Yeah.
What kind of tea do you drink?
Oh, great.
The kind with leaves.
Ooh, okay.
Classic Earl Grey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
My wife likes getting like Earl Grey
Alright,
with
let's see how
like
this one stretches.
Oh yeah. Do you want to use the
lemon
I want to use this.
Oh.
stick, yeah.
and milk.
And milk, then it curdles.
thingy? Yeah.
No, it's just like just a
All right.
smidge of lemon.
So this
Yeah, and it
side,
doesn't
It's
curdle.
like a
But you
hint.
stick it in water.
Because usually if you do
water
a little bit
on
of
this
lemon,
or inside?
Yeah.
the milk will go.
Well, no, the
Not
thingy.
that
Just the
problem.
stick. Okay.
Interesting.
So
Maybe not. Maybe very, very tiny.
It's just like a little squirt. Just enough. Just enough. Yeah, I made a Becca pot. Look at that. A giant Becca mug.
I love it when I'm teaching like a new student and like the bat wiggles and you're
Yeah.
like, just work with it, just stick it out,
Just do
stick
it.
it out. I'm like,
And they're like, "Whoa,
you're in charge. You're stronger than the
Yeah.
clay.
all right, so there's
Ooh,
my.
nice.
That was way better than mine.
Oh, you bellied it out before you threw the top.
Yes. So I should have thrown the top.
Because otherwise the
it's-
bottom's too weak.
Ooh.
Because you just made it
Live
super
and learn.
thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might be able to thin it out a little bit, but
Let's see.
might
I'll try it a little bit.
spiral.
Make the honey
But I
more.
can't also. So, how do you throw the top though if you don't touch the or you do touch the outside a little bit?
On the top I do.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's also what gives the nice like wavy lip.
Mhm.
Because you've got thick spot, thin
Oh,
spot.
So
I
you
see it,
want
I
the
see
wavy
it.
lip.
Yes.
That was a flop.
Live and learn. Live and learn.
Yep.
I have a hard time picking these up off the bat because it's...
And the clay is really wet.
And the clay is so wet on the
Because you
outside.
can't, like,
It's
ribbon or
really
anything.
hard to pick those up off the bat.
I
Like
have
I
a
wouldn't.
torch.
That's not something I would do normally. That's why I made my own bat system because it's not
The BO bat system.
the bow.
The
There.
BOBS.
The BOBS.
I mean, I gave it some character.
the Bobs.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
oh,
I like it.
I'm so calling my bat system Bobs.
I'll put a handle on it.
They'll be like, did you get a
Oh,
new
yeah.
cat?
Yeah. Well, I've had a cat
If
named
it's
Bo.
that thin, it does need a handle. Otherwise, it's
Yeah, it'd be a...
problem.
Yeah.
I have plenty of mugs that
And it
look
doesn't
exactly
have... You
like
can't,
that.
you can't hold it by the
No.
rim and the foot.
Yeah. Yeah, if you did not have the bats. And plus your clay is really soft normally, so...
This is softer than my clay.
Is it?
I think.
Okay.
I like it.
I feel like if you want to throw really thin, it's almost better to have a little stiffer clay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like a little.
If you want to
for sure.
throw really, really thin. Can I try the sticky thing?
So if I were to walk through one of my facet mugs, once it's open, I literally one pull and then my second pull is just making sure I have even thickness.
Just a refinement kind of.
yeah, there, done throwing.
Yeah.
Facet.
1.5 pulls.
Here.
Does that count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And then. So
I want
like,
to see your facet because it's also the same diameter normally.
Yeah.
So I go and then I just right at the. I like curl off at the.
Okay.
And then you do the
Oh, and then
opposite.
you alternate so
Yeah.
that it's even.
And then I go on the opposite side,
Opposites again.
and then I split the difference,
3.
and then.
Okay. Yeah,
So
my
then they're
facets
even
are really
8.
narrow.
But I've been starting to do some that are only 5,
Hmm.
and those are fun.
Yeah.
And you can. Does that scale pretty consistently too as you get to your vases and stuff like that? Where you pretty much do the same diameter and you just.
I do more around. If it's something that's wider, then I'll do more of them around. I'll do 10 or.
All your
12.
facets are usually the same
But it's always
size,
pretty
right?
calculated like that. It's not
I don't.
starting from one
you know,
side and
honestly,
going around.
it's not something that I really calculate. I just kind of like. Well, it's vaguely even, and honestly, once you belly them out and stuff, you're like, well, this one's clearly larger than this one.
Mhm.
Like they're never
But
actually
your
spot
mug
on.
over there looks like really consistent.
I can't remember where I put my
Fairly.
mugs.
So then, now I'm gonna throw my rim.
Okay.
Oh.
So I'm throwing on top of the
So you're
facets.
smoothing over the top of the facet. Pulling
And
that.
getting your wavy
Pull-
bits.
Yeah. And you kind of embrace the undulation of the rim a little
Yep.
bit if you have it.
And
Oh,
I
that
get
was a
like
big
a
word.
nice curve, so it
Ooh.
like mimics the
Undulating rim.
shape of your lip.
Mm.
So when you go to drink your coffee out of it, it just pours right in your mouth instead of like out the sides.
Right.
I like my coffee in my mouth.
Nice.
That's not what I'm looking for. I'm trying to find my sponge. Where did I put my sponge? I have more sponges.
Maybe this way.
I don't know. I lose sponges all
You
the
gotta
time.
be about done here,
I
right?
use the sponges from the
So.
cone boxes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That's a fine spot.
I love
I
these.
use those for like padding if I'm like taking pots in a damp box to like a thing to demo.
I would
I'll
never
just
use
like
those.
pad pots.
They're great.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of
They're very
like
fine.
manipulative.
What are you using them for? To refine the rim?
Yeah, I use them like a lot of people would use a chamois.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
ever use makeup sponges?
I have a couple times. I have like an endless supply of I have
Yeah.
way more of these than I need, so I
Right.
might as well use
Yeah.
those. Never tried that. Where did I put my?
I just
Right
cut
in
up
front of
the Batmate and use those
So
as a
then the
chamois.
extra junk on the bottom I cut off.
So undercut. Okay.
Big undercut.
Ooh, that's a nice refinement on the
Mhm.
bottom of those facets too.
And that mimics that. Like
Yeah.
from undercutting there.
and it's like a
mimics that.
subtle scallop kind of.
Yeah.
This is great audio. I'm sure you all are loving this.
They're like, all right, what's he doing now?
So wait, now, are you leaving things on the bat, or are you cutting them off and moving them?
Cut it off and move it right away.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna lift that off by hand. Like normally, you're not a bat person that leaves stuff on bats.
That's what I just
No.
said.
No, but
I don't.
you got a nice dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I have
dry.
a
Dry,
super
clean.
nice dry surface.
Yeah,
You're
that's-
not
your
gonna
hands
touch
are
the
dry and
outside
clean.
anymore.
Yeah, I will.
You know,
With my when I lift it off.
Right, yeah, but I mean, you're
Oh,
not
yeah,
gonna
I'm
wet
not
it,
gonna
and
get
there's not
any-
gonna be
no.
any more
So
water
then,
or anything
so
like
yeah,
that.
so when I'm using a throwing stick, my left hand is at like 5 o'clock probably. And then the throwing stick gets braced on my hand, and I kind of lever it into the pot.
I see.
Yeah. Because otherwise, throwing stick, normally you don't have any other support on the throwing stick. You're just kind of like holding it down in there and just kind of pushing it against
I
the
mean,
clay.
that's how it is when I'm doing like bigger forms.
Mhm.
But with these smaller ones, it's just I can't put my big ass hand in there.
Yeah.
Nice. And those all start at 2 pounds of clay?
1.75 pounds.
Okay.
What's that in grams?
What?
Enough.
1.75?
Yeah, 1 3/4 pounds.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
about
are
600
usually-
and
yeah.
something grams.
And that yields like a, 14-ounce mug?
12 ounces with room so I don't spill because I'm clumsy.
Okay.
So yeah, they're like
basically
usually
up to
14.
up to that rim that goes out.
Up to like here, they're
Kind
like
of the
12
collar.
ounces. Yeah, I mean they'd hold. Sometimes if they get thrown like a little bigger, then they'll hold 16 if you fill them up to the brim.
Yeah.
And I kind of define like the bottom of the lip
Uh-huh.
because I throw like the bottom of the section that I throw, and I kind of define that because that's the part where I attach my handle.
And
So,
that's
like,
the part where
visually
your lip's
it
going
leads
to be
into
on
the
too.
handle. Huh?
That's the part where your lip's going to be on to rest
Yeah.
when you're drinking it.
That gets cut off, and then I normally have a rag I can wipe my hands off on,
Right.
not like a gross sponge.
Right.
But my bottoms, like, there's a fair amount of clay.
Yeah, I saw you picking that up earlier, and I'm like, man, that didn't
But
deform
so
at
like
all.
the bottom part, I trim like the bottom's thin, but there's like a little bit in the corner that needs. So I give them like I call it like a faux foot. So it looks like there's a foot, but if you look at the bottom, it's flat on the bottom.
Right.
Right. The false foot.
Faux
Liar.
foot.
Liar.
And so
No, I think we all do that.
these mugs, if I weighed my scraps that come off, they're usually between a half to 3/4 of a pound.
Okay.
So that's really their 1 pound mugs.
1
I
pound
just have
mug.
to cut so much of it off when I fasten them.
Yeah.
Well,
So then, like the ones that I've been like stamping and putting textures on, I'm starting with 1 1/4 pounds,
Yeah.
and then they usually end up holding a little more than the faceted mugs.
okay. Nice. And when you're making those mugs, are you making 20 at a time, 30 at a time? A board
Usually
at a time?
10 fit on a board, 9 or 10 fit on a board.
And then you move on to something else, or yeah.
Yeah, usually I'll like do, unless I have like a big order for some, or have like, oh, I sold all my mugs, dang. or that, or yeah, there were 1 or 2 times this summer where I was like, I have 0 purple mugs left. That happened like 4 times this summer.
Well, that's not a bad problem.
Do you use the same clay for everything, whether it's going to be wood fired or?
No, so my wood fire stuff I use a domestic porcelain from Continental Clay, and I don't clean up in between when I switch clays.
Oh, okay.
So it gets dirty, and then my reclaim is essentially like a high iron B mix. That's got some grog in it.
Okay.
And so my electric stuff is Brooklyn Red from Standard, which is...
I think I have a box of Brooklyn Red in
It's super easy to throw with, and it looks
my
so
studio.
beautiful when it's fired. It's this LA cone, like 5 or 6. It's really pretty red, and I'm firing it to cone 8, so it's like a chocolatey brown.
Okay. I got it because I was intending on like marbling and stuff like that, and I never
Oh, it'd be good
did
for
it.
that.
Yeah.
It's also super easy to throw with. And like I can handle mugs that are like, oh, the rim's like bone dry. I can still handle it. And then if I like cover it overnight, it won't crack or anything.
Nice.
It's so forgiving to work with.
So you're doing 10 at a time because you just get bored with throwing the same thing over and over and over? Or you just like to work boards at a time?
A little bit, but also some it's good flow, and I only work a board at a time because I want to get up and move. Otherwise, if I just like, all right, well, I'm going to make 40 mugs today, and if I sat down and just wadded up 40 mugs, then I'd be sitting at the wheel for 4 hours straight without getting up.
Yeah. Could you...
It takes me...
Does your body posture have to be sitting down to get the facets and stuff consistent, or could you stand up and do it?
I could. Well, like my
it would
wheel...
be more bearable to do more.
Well, it's not so much that. It's like, even if you were just standing, you're not moving at all. You know, so it's a matter of like...
Besides moving
so
from
I'm not,
the board to the wheel, from
that's like 2
taking pots
steps
off the board. Yeah.
in my studio. Hi, Becca.
See, that's the one. That's this one.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, that's totally it.
Becca just gave me the dirtiest look ever.
So there's a dirtier look.
Dirtier look.
That's the dirtiest look I've ever seen Becca give anybody.
Mine looks closer.
Yeah. What was I saying before I got distracted?
You were saying if you did stand up, it wouldn't really make it more bearable.
Yeah, so it's more like
throw
I
more.
want to be able to like not just sit there and do a repetitive motion over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll like weigh out, between 6 and 15 balls of clay depending on what I'm throwing, because that's how many usually fit on a wear board. And then I'll throw that board of pots, and then I'll get up and get my balls of clay for the next board and then do it. And that works out because I feel like my body's not just doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm switching it up unless, you're not going to get like a repetitive motion injury or something.
I'm probably going to die from that.
You're going to die from something.
It's just like something that I do to... Also, I do get a little like ADD. Like I don't have ADD, but I get a little like I want to make sure that I'm like really present and mindful when I'm making each piece. And if I found out that I do more than I can do like 2 boards worth of something, but if I'm doing more than that, then I just like
you don't want to be on like autopilot.
Then I get into autopilot real fast.
And you make a little more like sacrifices, or you're like,
and
okay,
I don't think
that
necessarily
one's
the pots would inherently like look worse, but they'd all end up looking identical, which I don't want.
He just looked at me.
Well, but you're trying to make them all look
I don't actually make them all identical.
the same-ish.
Yeah,
but
the same-ish.
because
it's
I
like
was, I think I was talking to you, and I was like, I'll throw 30 things, but I'll have a whole bucket, and you're like, I'll throw the whole thing, like I'll just throw like 100 or something. Because I'll make like 20 of something.
Yeah,
if I have a list of like 100 mugs is my goal at some point, like I'll make 20, and that I'll feel good about knocking 20 off that list.
I think that I found
versus like just hitting that whole 100 and then moving on to the next thing.
Well, the problem with making 100 mugs at once is then you have to put all 100 handles on at once.
Right.
Like I'd rather throw.
That's true. I throw 50 at a time.
Yeah, like I like in my like a typical like thing in my studio would be like I might have
fire.
10 mugs and 12 cereal bowls and like
So you're kind of working on like a
3
set.
vases that I threw in a morning,
Yeah.
and then
Actually,
they're not dry by the afternoon,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, or maybe I'll throw them in the afternoon or whatever, and then the next day, the second half of my day, I'd be finishing those pots. So it's kind of like I'll spend like half my day throwing, half my day finishing the pots
Right.
from the previous day,
Yeah.
which works out pretty well. And then I'm not just like sitting there like,
So you kind of work 2 days
oh,
at
I
a
have to
time.
trim all these things, or I have to put handles on all these
Right.
things. So like intentionally, like if I have to throw a bunch of pots one morning,
Right.
I'm not going to throw all stuff that has handles. I'll throw like maybe, you know, cups and mugs and some vases or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I do a lot better with weight. Like, I do all the same weight items because
I definitely do that too.
because everything that I have is either 14 ounces, 16 ounces, or 10 ounces. 14, 16, 10, 23. So,
What's 23 a big bowl?
big mug.
Big mug.
Big.
23 ounces. How much is?
23 ounces, 23 ounces.
That's like 2 pounds.
Like 1.5.
1.5. Okay.
I'd say 32 is 2.
Yeah.
I throw ounce to ounce. I try to at least.
Like if you have 14 ounces, it should be a 14 ounce.
14 to 16, yeah.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of like.
Yeah. Well, because like if I'm throwing just like a mug that's like I'm just gonna make a thin, well-thrown mug. It's just like a cylinder, like a MUG mug, nothing fancy. And I use a pound of clay. It's right around 16 ounces.
Those are my
usually.
favorite. I love just basic mugs.
I think they definitely have a place.
They do. They're just.
Well, yeah. And like my diner mugs, if I just throw them thinner, they're a MUG mug.
Capital MUG.
Yeah. What's Ryan working on over there?
Me?
He's
Yeah.
like, I'm
I'm
ready
waiting
to
for
go.
these swoosh to dry.
Are you like, I'm ready to go home?
No, I'm good.
I'm getting.
So
I'm
as
waiting.
a studio potter,
Oh boy.
Pretend I didn't see that.
I
What just happened?
like
You just
it just flopped. I just felt it. I was like this flopping.
But he didn't break his like conversation until I said something.
As a studio
I heard
potter,
a big squish over
so
there.
I don't do it full time. So I live by the damp box.
Oh, I
As
use
a
a damp
studio
box too.
potter,
I love my damp box.
You're like 2 days at a time and you're finished with those pieces.
Yeah, so like during the
I
summer
forget
when
about
I
during the day.
when I had this like
Huh?
a bunch of shows weekends in a row, I would throw on Monday, trim on Tuesday, bisque on Wednesday, glaze on Friday, pack up Friday, go,
Holy
repeat.
crap.
Yeah, that's
Sounds
what I
like
do.
a
That's what
person
Becca
across
does.
the board.
I do.
Now, granted, Becca's doing like, yeah, I got 50 mugs made and 50 bowls and this,
No,
and I'm
I
like,
try to keep. Oh,
I filled
keep it
up my
around
5 cubic foot kiln.
100. Yeah, I can fill a 10 cubic foot, but I'm trying to get to a point where I don't have to do that, you know, as much. But I get home Sunday night. If I'm feeling extremely ambitious, I'll go in Sunday night and throw. And then I'll handle Monday, Tuesday. I'll load bisque Tuesday night. I unload bisque Wednesday night. I glaze Wednesday night, fire, unload Friday morning.
I have to let my stuff dry probably a little longer than
Yeah.
yours because I've like my faceted mugs. I have to put the handle on, and then the handle has to set up, and then I backfill the handle. So there's like an extra.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to, like, you know, I say my process to some people, and they're like, how do you do that so quick? And then they're like, oh, well, I can do that. I'm like, I've done this so many times.
And your pieces are very consistent thickness.
Yeah,
and
like
everything.
so
Yeah,
many
if you don't
times.
have thick pots, you can
It's
put
just
them.
another week for you.
Yeah, and it's like,
Just a busy-
it's taken me 5 years to figure
To
out
get
that
that
I
system.
can't do this.
You know how
You
many
know?
you can make and process in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not stressing about like opening your kiln at 300 degrees or something like that.
Sometimes I do. I can't tell you how many times I've sat in front of my kiln at 4:30 in the morning and it's at 400 degrees, and I'm searching, and I
Okay,
go to the same forums every time, and I'm like, can I do this?
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second here. So, if you're throwing pots out of, like, functional objects out of a clay that's theoretically you could use it in the oven,
Yeah,
why can't you pull a pot out of a kiln at 400 degrees?
you can.
Okay.
It's just the glaze might craze more. Depending on the
No,
glaze.
if it's gonna craze, it's gonna craze eventually.
It's already past. It's already past thermal
Yeah.
expansion, combustion, whatever.
So
It's gonna ting more.
Yeah, you're gonna hear the
my
tings more.
pots don't ting at all.
Yeah, mine don't really either.
But I got lucky with my glaze.
Well, I do with
Mine
high
just
school.
goes-
yeah,
stuff,
your
that's
stuff
different.
is gonna ting.
But the bigger, I was talking to Lisa Lapella, and it's the bigger issues if your kiln's at like 400 degrees
It's your
and
kiln.
and you throw your kiln lid open all
Yeah,
the way
that's
because
it.
it's
The
so
elements?
large. No, it's not the element. It's the brick that the
brick.
kiln's made out of is expanding and contracting
Yeah.
a lot faster because it's such a larger surface. It's
Cool.
not a little mug. It's a 2-foot span
Yeah.
maybe, and so that's
If
harsh on your
So
she's
kiln
changed-
itself.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a
Yeah.
lot of times what I'll do is I'm like,
I pull it up, take them out, and then throw it back down.
oh no, I usually like once it's below like 450, I'll put a stilt, like a 4-inch stilt
Yeah.
in there. So, and then once it's down to like,
increase the stilt.
and
as
then
it-
yeah.
So I do an
As it
inch
gets
still
cooler.
at 500, an inch at 5, 2 inches at 4, 3 inches at like 3, and then I'll unload at 280.
My kiln has a little thing that you like flip the
Yeah.
thing up and it will like.
The scut.
No, it's a press.
Oh, it's a crest. Okay.
It's a FX27. It's like
But
an
the
old
same thing,
manual-
like
it's
hooks
old,
in.
It's an old manual one, but it's a kiln sitter.
Yeah.
But
Do you know what I hate about bowls? Is that they always like, schmeh,
You
and
done,
it looks so
Victoria?
nice right now.
But it's gonna
You're not-
relax back once it gets fired.
No.
Yours don't, because mine totally do. Like I made these oyster bowls, so like big
Oh, shit.
flattish rims with like the little thing in the middle. And it was like, okay, do it like this, and then they dry, and it goes, "Whir," and you're like, oh, and then you fire, and it goes, "Whir," back
Oh.
again.
Maybe it's because you're firing Cone 8.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I fired a
Maybe
Cone 5.
What?
A very high 5.
so come.
Cone 6.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be different if you were like fired to kiln like 7.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be bad for your anything.
My clay already warps a shit ton anyway.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Then I'm surprised it doesn't relax back down if it's warping at that.
I don't know. I don't make a ton of big pulls, but that one's cool.
That one is sweet.
I need to make some texture. I've got one
Yeah.
more pot I want to fill.
yeah,
and then
maybe
I'm
the
good.
next.
And then I want to
Almost.
put.
It's 12:20, so
Yeah, we should go.
I gotta demo it.
8 a.m.
8:30.
We'll do a demo here in 8 hours. All right. Thanks
We're
for
gonna go.
listening. We'll see y'all later. Hope you enjoyed.
Well, I gotta.
You're gonna have to edit this a little bit. We've been here for like 2 hours. There was a lot of dead time in there too.
We'll see you later.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to follow me or Ryan, you can follow us on our Instagrams. My Instagram is 5 Lines Pottery Studio. It's the number 5. And his Instagram is at RD Ceramics. That's R as in Ryan, D as in Durban, Ceramics. And we would love for you to follow us, but we would also love it if you gave us a review on whichever platform that you're listening on, and if you tell your friends. We really enjoy doing this, and we hope that we can do it some more and have some great conversations. Thanks!